Cocoon Spawn Girls, Chapter 11. Tiki and Clarice are out of sight from where the van is parked. I look at Gretchen, but she's showing no signs of getting out, a magazine in her hands taking her full attention. I thought we were going to be watching the fight. I turn and look at Marzia, who seems oblivious to what I'm thinking. I write out, "Are we going to watch the fight?" on my board and show it to her. My message seems to snap her out of whatever daydream she was in. "Oh yeah! We totally should try and find somewhere to see the fight from!" Gretchen shoos us off with a right hand as she continues reading. We climb out from the van. Marzia starts walking in the direction Tiki and Clarice disappeared in. I follow after, hoping she knows where she's going. She wanders down the street, scanning our surroundings. She spots something and picks up her speed. I keep up with her as she enters into a parking garage. I don't have the ability to ask where we're going or why we are on the move, so all I can do is trust her. We climb 2 flights of stairs into the garage's 3rd floor roof. She walks over to the far side and has a satisfied expression. "We'll be able to see it from here, Soph." Pointing her at the edge, I spot Clarice holding King in front of her, pointed at a strange-looking man. It takes me a second from the distance to make out the disparity with the man in front of her. The wrong way he moves as he breathes, the swaying, and the size of his upper body frame versus his lower. So that's a humanoid spawn. I knew they didn't always appear like beasts, but this is the first time in person I've seen one that looks so human. I can't hear what Clarice is saying from here, but I certainly can hear the growling scream the spawn makes as it begins to charge at her. Clarice's left hand throws something at him as she holds her stance with King in front of her. They look like little balls? "Watch what happens after she throws those marbles, Soph! This is the cool part next!" Marzia cheers. I can make out 2 marbles in the air. What's odd is they aren't moving. They froze in place in the air in front of the spawn. The spawn, for its part, doesn't slow down and charges forward, running into the space between the 2 marbles. As he passes, he comes to a stop, making a loud screaming roar. His arms are suddenly at his sides, held out practically touching the 2 marbles on either side. I spin around, putting my face next to Marzia's with a shocked look, trying my best to get her to explain more. "Move your face, goofball! You don't want to miss anything!" She pokes my cheek. "Clarice and King are able to give objects gravitational pulls, so right now that spawn is stuck in between 2 small planetary poles. Either the 2 pull apart, or he pulls them together and they make an explosion thing." The spawn's arms stretch out. They seem to be being ripped from his shoulders. What a scary power Clarice has. The spawn screeches again, and suddenly his arms have been ripped off and have begun spinning and clinging to the marble. The spawn, free, lunges forward right at Clarice. Its jaw stretches, and there are so many bones in there. I slam my own eyes shut, not wanting to see the spawn bite down on Clarice. There's a loud whoosh sound, and Marzia lets out a "Wow!" I open my eyes and see the spawn stumbling backwards, armless, and engulfed in flames. Looking back at Clarice, I see she's unharmed, sitting on the ground after being knocked off her feet. Between her and the burning spawn is a fireball in human form, wagging its finger at the spawn. Is that Tiki? Tiki is not just slightly on fire. Her power is nothing like I imagined when I heard about it. I know her bones light on fire. I know her skin melts as the flames pierce through them like they were candle wax, but this is just unbearable to look at. Her bandages cover up so much of her face, but in the heat of the flames I can see that gleeful expression of a demon, glowing white eyes beneath the flames, taking 1 step at a time towards the spawn. 3 marbles fly across the air and freeze in place around the burning spawn. Then they begin orbiting around it. Stones and gravel slide across the ground towards the spawn. It has begun to experience its own gravitational pull. This has some serious reaction with the flames covering the spawn. They stop rising off of him, now balling up all over his body. Air being sucked in fuels the flames even hotter. All at once, the spawn is transformed into a ball of fire akin to a sun. If it's still screaming, I can't tell anymore. No sound escapes. Tiki's flames stop and she drops to her knees before crashing into the pavement. Clarice runs out to her side and cradles her in her arms. "Come on, Soph, let's go help her. We gotta put something on those burns," Marzia calls out as she leaps up and takes off towards the stairs. I try to keep up with her, but she's incredibly fast, compared to me at least. By the time I get to the ground floor and outside to where Clarice was, Marzia had already begun rubbing some kind of cream on Tiki. My attention is grabbed by what remains of the spawn. No ash or flames, just a purple sparkling storm being engulfed by the 3 marbles. It had burned up till it was just the pure chemical, I guess. I come over to Tiki's side to see if I can help apply whatever the cream is. Her bandages and clothes have burned right off. Marzia has already covered her with her windbreaker to not let her be exposed. Without the bandages, I could now see just how burned up her skin was, how deep and long the burns really were. Her hair somehow lies along the ground, untied and unharmed. Marzia squirts some sort of white cream into my palms. I rub it all along her legs, wherever I can see bubbling flesh. Gretchen finally arrives at the scene, although her attention is first towards the purple sparkling dust. "Clarice, if you..." she began, but King understandably immediately does what she wants. He waves his little hand, and the floating dust suddenly packs together under a tight pressure, forming into a thick, packed ball. Gretchen catches it as it suddenly drops from where it had been floating, catching it inside a small jar. She pockets it and then finally turns her attention to Tiki's condition. "Marcia, grab her legs. We'll move her to the back of the van and get her back to the office for better medical attention." I help hold her up between the two of them as we all make our way back to the van that is parked close by. We secure her in the trunk across a spinal board, strapping her in for safekeeping. She seemed in a relatively good mood for someone covered in burns. She didn't say much, but she did give a crackling skin smile. The van took off towards the office. Marzia took the vacant passenger seat, while Clarice and I stayed in the back. "Your power's really impressive, you two," I hold up towards Clarice and King. Clarice rubs her cheek shyly. "Shucks, that wasn't even really anything." King nods. "Wait till you see us collide two gravitational forces, each orbiting in opposite directions." I don't know what that means exactly, but it sounds cool, and so I give them a large smile and grin, nodding. It's really cool how well Tiki and Clarice/King's powers can combo together like that. I tried to think of any way me and Fool's Night could do anything like that, but I've got nothing. In the end, I guess all I can really do is be a strong offense. No crazy tricks to that. I suppose that's just the power gap between a B like me and their A and S powers. Still, I won't give up on combining forces for a special combo attack. I just gotta keep my eyes open and wait for an idea to strike me. The van ride back becomes silent the rest of the way. I can't make sounds, obviously, and now neither can Tiki. But a silence falls over the others as well. I can't help replaying myself complimenting Clarice and King. Had they seemed off? My insecurities tell me I might have missed something. Was this silence a somber one? Tiki was fine, right? This is technically our first win as the Coven-bred Guardians, even if it was only half the team in the battle. We should be celebrating to the start of our bright future. This van should sound like a school bus headed back from a tournament where we won the conference. So why doesn't it? When I first met Tiki, she was covered in bandages, headed down to a medical bay for a checkup. She may have gotten hurt a lot due to her power. This can't be anything that's out of the ordinary for her. Maybe Clarice and Marcia are just enjoying some restful silence. Clarice was just in a fight, and Marcia did a lot of running and helped carry Tiki. They might just be tired? Gretchen is silent too, but I already know she wasn't the most friendly sort of person. I realize my chest is beating pretty heavily, thumping almost audibly to me. I close my eyes and focus on my breathing. My heart rate slows after some exhales. Has silence always made me this uncomfortable? I don't remember feeling so shaken by silence any time in my room, so why do I feel like this in their company? I sit there for a moment and compile my thoughts. After thinking about it, I can only really come to a few conclusions. I think that it is true that I haven't yet really given myself time to grieve my voice. It seems like many magical girls grieve their lost boyhood, their lost lives, but I may be the first to have to grieve the capacity of speech. It really isn't fair when I think about it. Well, no illnesses, I suppose. I had an idea of what life was going to be like to live, and then one unavoidable sickness strikes me and I've lost everything? But if that wasn't cruel enough, I was born again like this. To have my body change is one thing. To have my flesh reshaped while I lay unconscious inside a cocoon? But to then have that body fail to properly give me the means to voice myself? It just seems far too cruel. I have feelings. I want to voice them. I know what it feels like to be heard, and now I have forever lost that. I would never have chosen to be born this way. It is as if I was born and lived in a world of color, and now without any sin of my own, I must now live in a world where I can no longer see color again? I have a right to feel frustrated. I think I miss singing. I took it for granted in my past life. I should have enjoyed it more. I could have gone to karaoke. I'm sure if I tried hard enough, I could have gotten a group together and all gone together. Now, I sit among 3 amazing new friends, but they will never know my voice. If I wanted to tell them something, spur of the moment, I'd first need to write it down, and then try and get all of their attention for them to read it. If Clarice, who's sitting right beside me, shut her eyes for just a moment, I'd have to shake her just to get her attention so she could hear me. I think what truly has upset me is that I've lost the ability to be in control. The conversation ends when they choose it to. I can't speak to draw them back in. If someone wants to take my board away from me, to rip it from my fingers, I'd only be able to do gestures to express myself. I feel powerless just thinking about it, but that just means I need to not let that happen. I could still learn ASL. Management or whatever said not to, but I could still choose to. It might let me communicate quicker. Even if the others don't know it, they'll eventually pick up small meanings. I nod to myself, deciding this is what I want to do. I want to overcome this. I can't just live in fear of these things. I need to be brave and face it head on as much as I can. I can be a better me. The van pulls back into the parking garage of our building. 2 workers are waiting for us to take Tiki off somewhere. We don't get a chance to even ask to go with her. She just disappears in an instant as the workers carry her off. Gretchen tells us all to return to our rooms. We all take the elevator back upstairs. Clarice and Marcia say their goodbyes for the night, and I make a similar gesture. Entering into my room, I want to plop right down on my bed, but as I head for it, I barely am able to curve my path towards my small trash can, which I vomit into. I'd forgotten about this coming. All the fighting had allowed the coming sickness to slip my mind. You don't realize just how much you've eaten until it's in this sickening form. I pass out on the ground. I overdid it, my body just can't keep up with me. My body is so much frailer than it was before. I have to learn this painful lesson now so I don't ever experience it again. In my floor sleep dreams, I'm able to speak again. I sing a song with the others on a stage surrounded by adoring fans. We're each adorned in a cute costume. Each of us assigned a color for a costume to make us more recognizable. It felt nice hearing all those voices cheering my names. It was a good dream. End of chapter 11.